So you've been dollar cost averaging into a stock or ETF, and you've been enjoying the benefits of doing a regular purchase into a stock and reaping all the benefits of averaging out your price. Now, the buying and selling of a stock is the easy part. You just log into your broker, execute a trade, and you're done. The DCA nightmare begins on the admin side of things and keeping records into the future. If you're buying into a stock on a regular cadence, say every month you buy $1,000 worth of an ETF or a stock, after several years you're going to have a ton of buy positions that you need to keep track of, and as you start selling those at some point into the future, now I know what you're saying, I'm only buying stocks, I'm not planning on selling them. Well, the reality is at some point you will start selling them, whether that's a cost of living crisis that we have right now, or whether you need to buy a house or buy a car, an emergency, or whatever it is, you're going to end up selling some of these. And when you do, you're going to have an admin nightmare on your hands, because you're going to have tens, maybe even get to the 100 of transactions into this particular stock or ETF that you need to keep track of when you're calculating your capital gain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Navexa and show you a more real-world example of what this looks like and the burden it can bring with it, but also how to easily solve it so that you never even have to think about this anymore. So let's jump in. So here in Navexa is a VAS holding, which is super common ETF on the ASX. It might even be one that you have been DCAing into. So if we jump over to the trades tab, you'll see that there's a ton of trades in here. So if we go all the way back, we started DCAing back in 2021. And this is a similar size, about a $1,000 buy trade every single month for 3 years, up until June 2024. So while this is awesome from an investing performance perspective, DCAing has a lot of benefits, as you'll well know if you're doing DCAing. What happens behind the scenes is an absolute admin nightmare. So as you can see, all of these kind of 36 buy trades have opened up 36 different open positions for us to choose from when we sell some shares. If we scroll up here, you'll see there's a sell trade in about mid-2023 for 30 shares. So not all of them, just 30 of the probably 100 or 200 shares that we have underneath. Now, how do you calculate the capital gain on that? Well, there's, as you might know, there's a whole bunch of different CGT strategies. I'll link to a few videos in the description if you want to check out some detail around those. But let's suppose you're running the FIFO, or the first in, first out tax CGT strategy. So in this case, you would be selling 30 of the first shares that you bought. So down here we can see, well, this buy trade has 11. So you'd calculate the capital gain between your $90.28 price and your $93.90 price, but for 11 of the 30 shares that you're selling. Once that 11's done, you're going to sell the next 12, which gives you, 23 shares that you've sold. And now you need to sell another 8 shares of this third parcel to complete your, another 7 shares, to complete the 30. And so while you will have fully depleted this one and this one, you're only selling 7 of that 12. Now that's fine, that's the FIFO strategy in action. It's exactly how you do it. The problem comes if somebody asks you in 3 or 4 years' time, if the ATO come a knocking, and they say, can you prove how you calculated that capital gain? You need to have meticulous records just like this kept, so that you can say, yes, from that sell trade, I sold 30 using the FIFO strategy. So it was these 11, this 12, and 7 of that 12. Now, that's not a problem if you're recording all of your data in a system like this. But if you're just keeping it in the top of your head, then come time, if we scroll up here, another sell trade in mid-June 2024, and we sell 53, are you going to remember that there's 7, that you sold 7 of those 12? Because if you don't, and you run the FIFO strategy again, perhaps you forgot all about that earlier sell because it was a couple of years ago, you might end up double selling the same parcel of shares using FIFO, forgetting that you'd already sold those in a previous financial year. And then you get in big trouble with the ATO. So again, that's why it's really important to have this meticulous record. Now, it gets even worse. So if you've sold these first 30 shares and you depleted those ones like I showed you using the FIFO strategy, perhaps in this financial year, when you sold 53, maybe you change CGT's strategy to the LIFO strategy, which is last in, first out. So instead of selling the first ones you bought, you're now selling the last one. So this 53 would deplete this 13 first, because it's the last one in, then this 13, and then this 12, all the way through until you've done 53. Now that's a perfectly valid scenario that you did FIFO in one financial year and now LIFO in another. Think 2 or 3 years ahead, if we keep DCAing into this stock and there's another 36 trades on top of these 36 and these sell trades, how are you going to remember which parcels you've sold, which parcels have a partial quantity left, and how are you going to make sure that you don't end up double selling things and essentially filing a very incorrect tax return to the ATO? And then if they come and audit you, you're going to have to present the records of this is exactly how I calculated it. Investors like myself have a couple of options. You can use a spreadsheet, which is a perfectly valid option, but that comes with a couple of risks. The first one being, and this has happened to all of us, you have a document or a file or a spreadsheet in this case with some really important data in it, and you accidentally delete it, or you lose your computer, or you lose access to the email address that has the Google Drive access, or whatever it might be. We've all lost a file like that. That would be a huge risk using a spreadsheet. The second big risk, which is probably worse, you've got your spreadsheet, but what if you've done your calculations incorrectly? Now, not everyone's an expert at how to calculate FIFO or LIFO or tracking that across 5, 10, 15 years of trades and different tax strategies for each financial year. So that's probably the biggest risk I see. But using a tool like Navexa, all the trades are in here, all the data is accurate. And what we can do now is jump over to the capital gains tax report. And you can see, if we go back to the 22-23 financial year, you can see here it's correctly recorded the 3 parcels that we depleted. So in that example, you remember we sold 11, sold 12, and then we sold 7. So all of those records are kept here, showing when the purchase date was, the date of the capital gain event, how much we sold, what the cost base was of the original parcel that we sold, what the sale value was, and then ultimately whether it was a loss or gain. So if the ATO come checking, we can just run this report and go, here's the values. These are the 3 parcels I sold, all good. And now if we change to the 23-24 financial year, which was when that second sell trade was, you can see those, I think it was for 53 shares, that second sell trade. You can see down here, it's showing you all the parcels that it sold to calculate the gain on those 53 shares using FIFO. And so you can see 10, 20, 33, 46, 48, and then the remaining 5 gives you the 53 shares that you've sold. So all of these records are in here. FIFO automatically calculated these gains. And the awesome thing about this is, well, maybe for this year we want to run LIFO. So you can see we have a $23 capital gain at the moment. You can just jump into tax settings, change it to last in, first out, hit update, and bam, look at that, our capital gain has turned into a capital loss. And as you'll know, in Australia, we don't pay tax on a capital loss, and that can be carried forward to next financial year to cancel out any gains. So with the click of a button, that's recalculated everything with LIFO. It's all recorded here. So in 5 years or 10 years, if the ATO comes to your door and says, prove that the sell trade you did on the 12th of June in 2024, prove how you got to those numbers, you just come in here, run the report, and here you go. Here's the numbers and the breakdown of how it was all calculated. So it really does cover your backside for this admin nightmare that DCAing causes. I'd highly recommend you can check out Navexa. It's free for 14 days. You can have a trial, load your data in there and see what you think. And I know you'll be pleased once you get it all in here. And in 5-10 years, when you need those records, they're all here at the click of your fingers. So if you like this video, please make sure to give it a like. I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you like this style of content, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that button, and you'll get notified every time we release another video like this. Over the next few months, we're going to be releasing more content just like this, and also other interesting areas of investing. So make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.